Welcome to the Daily Message. I'm Dane Spotts. I want to read to you a short essay from Jeffrey Tucker of the Brownstone Institute that was just published. The train wasn't scheduled for another 20 minutes, so I had the chance to contemplate the official sign on the door of the huge elevator leading to the platform. It said that only 4 people are allowed in because we must all practice social distancing. There was a helpful map of the interior of the elevator with these stick figures telling people exactly where to stand. Yes, these stickers are still everywhere. I recall when they first went up, sometime in April 2020, they seemed oddly uniform and appeared even permanent. At the time I thought, oh well, this is just a huge error, because within a few weeks, the error of the whole of this idiocy is going to be known by all. Sadly, my worst fears came true. It was designed to be a permanent feature of our lives. Same with the strange arrows on the ground telling us which way to walk. They're still everywhere, stuck on the floor, an integral part of the linoleum. If you walk this way, you'll infect people, which is why you have to walk that way, which is safe. As for masks, the mandates keep popping up in strange places in strange ways. My inbox fills with pleas for how people can fight this stuff. The essential message of all these edicts: you're pathogenic, a carrier, poisonous, dangerous, and so is everyone else. Every human person is a disease vector. While it's fine that you're out and about, you must always create a little isolation zone around you such that you have no contact with other human beings. It's so odd that no dystopian book or novel ever imagined a plot centered on such a stupid and evil concept. Not even in 1984, or The Hunger Games, or The Matrix, or Equilibrium, or even Brave New World. Was it ever imagined that a government would institute a rule that all people in public places must stand 6 feet away in all directions from any other person? That some government would insist on this is too crazy for even the darkest imaginings of the most pessimistic prognosticator. That 200 governments in the world at roughly the exact same time would go there, that was unimaginable. And yet, here we are, years after the supposed emergency, and while governments are not enforcing it, for the most part, many are still pushing the practice as the ideal form of human engagement. Except, we're not doing it. In this train station, no one paid any attention to any of the signage. The exhortations were entirely ignored, even by those who are still masked up, and one presumes boosted 7 times. When the moment arrived for people to get into the elevator, a crowd began to pour in, quickly beyond 4, then 8, then 12. I stood there shoulder to shoulder with fully 25 other people in one elevator, with a sign that demanded only 4 people get in at any one time. I sort of wanted to ask the crowd if they saw the sign and what did they think, but that would have been absurd because actually no one even cares. In any case, one guy asking a crowded elevator such a question would have raised suspicions that I was deep state or something. I was never clear, in any case, who was enforcing this. Who issued the rule? What are the penalties for not complying? No one ever said. Sure, there was in the past usually some flunky bureaucrat or Karen who yelled at people and said, do this and don't do that. But these people seem long ago to have given up. It's not even a thing anymore, and yet the signs still exist. Probably they will stay up forever. There is an enormous disjunction that still persists between what we're told to do and what we actually do. It's as if incredulity toward official dictate is now baked into our daily lives. My first thought is that it doesn't make much sense at all, even from the point of view of those who aspire to control our lives, to issue commands to which no one listens to or obeys. On the other hand, there might be some meta-rationale for all this, as if to say, we are nuts, you know we're nuts, we know that you know we are nuts, but we're in charge and can continue to do this anyway. In other words, edicts to which no one complies serve a certain purpose. They are a visual reminder of who is in charge, what those people believe, in the presence of a sword of Damocles hanging above the whole population. At any point, anyone could be snatched away from normal life, made into a criminal, and be forced to pay a price. The nuttier the edicts, the more effective the message. Thus, we do live in insane times. There seems to be this huge and widening gulf separating the rulers from the ruled. And this gulf pertains to values, aims, methods, and even vision for the future. Whereas most of the population aspires to live a better life, we cannot shake the sense that someone out there who has more power than the rest of us aspires for us to be poorer, more miserable, more afraid, more dependent, and more compliant. After all, we're barely just shaking off the most grandiose experiment in universal human control in the historical record. The attempt to micromanage the whole of everyone belonging to the human race in the name of gaining control over the microbial kingdom. The effort petered out over time, but how in the heck does anyone with ruling class power expect to maintain any credibility after such a destructive experiment? We all know that it's not just about these dumb stickers and these virus controls. There's more going on. Coincident with the pandemic restrictions came the triumph of woke ideology, the intense push for EVs, and wild ramp up in weather paranoia with the discovery that climates change, a rampant gender dysphoria and denial of chromosomal reality, an unprecedented refugee flood that no one in power is willing to mitigate, a continued attack on gas, including even stoves, and a host of other inane things that are driving rational people to the brink of despair. We long ago gave up the hope that all of this is random and coincidental, any more than it so happened that nearly every government in the world decided to plaster social distancing signs everywhere at the same time. Something is going on, something malevolent. The battle of the future really is between them and us, but who or what them is remains opaque, and too many of us are still confused about what the alternative is to what is happening all around us. Non-compliance is an essential start regardless. That crowded elevator, assembling spontaneously in open defiance to the blasting signage, is a sign that something in the human longing to be free, to make our own decisions, still survives. There are cracks in the great edifice of control. This essay, titled A Nation of Non-Compliers, gives me hope that perhaps our non-compliance and civil disobedience is the beginning of the pushback. And I think this year will be a big one, where the pushback is necessary. The powers that be most certainly took the COVID thing too far, seizing upon it as a great opportunity to experiment with the limits of control. And most certainly the entire mRNA vax thing was a physical health experiment as well. Not only to gauge compliance, but also 1 billion human guinea pigs. And though the vax turned out to be a total disaster, the fraud that perpetuated it was a huge success. Big Pharma was able to roll out a new technology that would have been impossible to get clearance for in normal times, due because it could never be proven to be safe and effective. And a lot of good people suffered for it. Fear is a powerful motivator, after all. So what does this say about us and how we go forward as a free people, looking back at it all now? Well, number one, I think, is we really do have a choice on how we want to live and operate our lives as part of our human community. The authoritarians who take our money only to use it to control us believe they know what's best for us. Lies and deception are their main tools, and this is fraud, and it can be exposed and pushed back on. We always have this power if we decide to assert it, and if we do, they have no choice but to fold their tents and walk away like the naked emperor petty tyrants they truly are. And number two is that freedom is the highest truth of our inalienable right to exist as a free person. There really are worse things than death, as RFK Jr. just spoke about in a recent speech. And freedom, a right which has always been a fight against tyranny, and with many, too many, that have died defending it. So for you and for me, we must honor that and refuse to bend the knee where we know it's wrong. And we must continue to do so, or we shall stop being free.